Late in a high-stakes Saturday night showdown with first place in the NFC North hanging in the balance, everything changed for the Green Bay Packers in one violent moment. Jordan Love dropped back, pressure closed in, and as he braced for contact, a helmet-to-helmet hit from Chicago's Austin Booker sent him crashing to the turf. Love stayed down. The stadium went quiet. Moments later, he disappeared into the blue medical tent, then down the tunnel, and by halftime, the verdict was official, ruled out with a concussion. For Green Bay, this wasn't just another injury. This was the loss of the one player they absolutely could not afford to lose. And it came only a week after Micah Parsons, one of the team's defensive pillars, tore his ACL. In the span of days, the Packers lost their offensive engine and a defensive cornerstone. A season that once looked like a controlled climb toward January suddenly turned into a scramble for survival. The hit itself will be replayed endlessly. Love lowering his head, Booker arriving with force, the unmistakable clash of helmets. The penalty flag flew, but the damage was already done. Concussion protocol is unforgiving, and for good reason. Once Love went to the locker room, the game plan, and possibly the season, shifted instantly. Malik Willis was thrust into action. No warm-up, no easing in. Just the reality of leading a playoff contending team in a rivalry game with everything on the line. Concussions don't operate on a neat timeline. This isn't a sprained ankle or a strained hamstring. There's no tape it up and gut it out. Love now has to clear multiple stages: symptom monitoring, neurological testing, independent medical clearance. Some players are back in a week, others miss multiple games. There is no shortcut, and Green Bay knows rushing him back would risk far more than a single season. The franchise quarterback's long-term health outweighs any short-term desperation. But football doesn't pause. The Packers now have to prepare as if Love won't be there next week or the week after. That means Malik Willis isn't just a backup anymore. He's the focal point of the offense. The coaching staff has to reshape everything around him. Simplified reads, quicker throws, heavier reliance on the run game, and protection schemes designed to keep him upright. Expect fewer deep shots, fewer long developing concepts, and a clear emphasis on ball control. The goal won't be dominance, it will be survival. And the timing couldn't be worse. Without Micah Parsons, Green Bay's defense has already been stretched thin. Parsons' absence removes pressure without blitzing, the kind that lets you sit back in coverage and force mistakes. Without him, opposing quarterbacks have more time, more comfort, more room to operate. Now, with a potentially limited offense, the defense will be asked to do even more with less. Short fields, quick turnarounds, and longer stretches on the field become real dangers. This changes the way Green Bay must approach games entirely. Shootouts are no longer realistic. The margin for error shrinks. Special teams, field position, clock management, these become decisive factors instead of background details. Every possession matters more when explosive offense is no longer guaranteed. Inside the locker room, leadership becomes critical. Veterans have to steady the group. Panic is contagious, but so is confidence. The message has to be clear: win the next drive, win the next quarter, don't let one injury spiral into 5 losses. Coaches need to resist the urge to overcorrect or get cute. Simplicity is strength right now. Zooming out, these injuries also expose uncomfortable truths about roster construction. Depth matters, especially at quarterback and pass rusher. Losing Love and Parsons so quickly highlights how fragile even a well-built team can be when top-end talent goes down. These moments often shape off-season philosophy. Investments in offensive line depth, defensive pressure, and backup quarterback reliability suddenly feel less theoretical and more urgent. For now, everything revolves around the next injury report, the next practice rep, the next medical update. Is Love symptom-free? How does Willis look with the first team? Can the defense generate pressure without Parsons? These questions will define Green Bay's final stretch. One hit changed the trajectory of a night and maybe the season. What happens next will determine whether the Packers weather the storm or are swallowed by it.